next to it. So you're all down today.
Am I? Oh, yeah, I do that.
Okay. We have a technical difficulty, so it'll just be a minute.
Ooh. Yeah.
Is that the record now?
Yeah. Just put my cell phone in the corner.
Some tape.
Yeah, there's a chance it might still work, but there's a higher
There's no chance it'll get stuck in there, never come back out.
Exactly.
Scotch tape. Duct tape. That's all I know how to use.
So you push it in there and it goes click.
Try and catch my computer. Sit down and take notes.
Yeah.
Can't minimize it, right? Can't minimize it, right?
No, you just click on the other one. Yep, there you go, like that. Don't break that.
No pressure.
Remember my first day as a zoning secretary too.
I am.
That one didn't work.
Nope, not the right size. We're good.
Don't feel the pressure, everybody's just staring at
I
you.
feel it. I'm so sorry.
Brett's recording.
It's not even 6 o'clock yet, you're good.
You can't get to work, we got it being recorded. Just watch
See,
stuff
we
there.
might have to. Well, I think we're going off of the recording this month.
So even quicker now.
Would be even quicker.
But the other one's going.
Yeah, you guys have the other one going?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. Wow.
All right, if you want to rise, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We thank you all for coming tonight. Hopefully you've had a chance to sign in out in the front. And if you have your cell phones with you, we ask you to have them turned off so don't get interrupted in the middle of things. And fire exits are marked so we can have a roll call.
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Here.
Marianne Alexandra,
Here.
Melanie Marr,
Yes.
Stephen Imhoff,
Here.
Alan Reese,
Here.
Brett Baker,
Here.
Matthew Favreau.
Here.
And can we have a motion that we can approve that the meeting was advertised as required?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
And a second. And a roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Melanie Marr.
Yes.
And can we approve the meeting's minutes from last month and
Yeah.
waive the reading of those minutes?
I'll make a motion. Second.
And a roll call vote on that?
Henry Hill,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Melanie Marr.
Yes.
And we have old business with Steve.
Our first one is Rick and Giselle Menard. You guys want to come up? This was a continuation from before, old business to now new business. There was some new information that was provided. They're asking for an area variance request to be allowed to expand the one-car garage. It doesn't meet the minimum 20-foot setback into the 50-foot side yard setback, minimum 50-foot setback, encroachment 5.93 feet into a side yard setback, 0.018 feet to a total side yard setback, with 20 feet into the front yard setback. We have some pictures and narrations that were provided to us that we can kind of renew. I think it was 2 months ago.
Yes.
2 months ago that was in front of you that Brett has.
So here we have Rand Hill Road where it intersects with Route 3. Route 3 is here. This is the property. It's located all within the R2 district. Scenario view from the rear yard. Scenario from the front, along with the attached garage that is part of the proposed project. This garage is going to be part of the garage that will then be expanded. That's the view from today. This is the plot plan that was originally provided to us, showing setbacks that have been altered. An aerial view of the surrounding properties. This is a plot plan of the existing. And this is the new revised plot plan showing the new setbacks and the proposed garage here with the expansion to the one-car garage that exists. It's all yours.
I'm James Moser. I wasn't involved with the last meeting.
Right.
But we had a surveyor, Mark Petrashun, come out and do an accurate, formal survey and everything. So some of the distances are, we're more than the 20 feet required on the proposed garage. It's the existing house that's short, 14.07, 20 feet supposed to be, but that's pre-existing, non-conforming. The total is just under, it's 2 inches, I think, less than the 50-foot total. The front yard it'll match what's there now, except it's going to be, a little wider to make it a 2-car garage.
It was confusing during the last month because
Right.
it was like another 16 feet getting ahead.
Yeah, they were different.
Instead of just keeping it there. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I do
And
have a
as you
different,
stated, it's all pre-existing.
This might be a little easier to see. The red's the existing,
Right.
or the proposed. You can see it matches right up with the front. The
Right.
red's the new, so get a little wider, but most of the houses on that street are within the 50-foot, especially right across the road. So
I will open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? No. We do have one letter to read into the record, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. You read it. To whom it may concern, we are writing this letter to the town of Plattsburgh Zoning Board of Appeals in favor of allowing the Menard family at 1321 Route 3 to tear down their single-bay garage to replace it with a new modern 2-car garage, even though it will be in violation of the total side yard setbacks. We live next door immediately to the west of the Menards on Route 3, sharing our property line with them. We probably would be the most affected by their project. We have viewed the plans and do not see any potential issues with the considering there will be plenty of space between the garage and our shared line. The front yard setback will not affect us because it will not project any further ahead than the existing garage, which we understand is grandfathered in. In conclusion, we do not see any issues with granting the Menards the variance. Sincerely, Judy and Tim Pavone.
And there was, at the previous meeting, for just those, there was consideration by some neighbor next door saying that it was going to block their view, but it didn't get any closer to the road, and I think that's what they were concerned with. So. All right, and if we go through I'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting, and the board members have any questions on this? It's looking like 2-foot variance or something like that, right?
for the side totals, yeah.
Yeah.
2 inch, actually, I think it is on the side, total 50 foot.
Right. Mary Ann, Roger?
No, that's fine.
No, okay. We look at the balancing test, whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, and needing a two-stall garage is, there's no other means other than the garage. Undesirable change in neighborhood character or to nearby properties. It should be an improvement to the area, I would think. Whether the request is substantial, and it turns out to be that it's non-conforming on the one side yard and to the road frontage, it's really not a substantial request. And whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental effects, and I don't see any of those. So, anybody here like to make a motion to approve or to deny the
Sure, I'll
variance?
make a motion to approve the variance.
Okay, do you got a second? And a show of hands on that? And a roll call vote?
Marie Hill,
Yes.
Roger Black,
Yes.
Mary Ann Alexander,
Yes.
I was.
Melanie Marr.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. That was done.
Next appeal, you guys are up front, center. Again. Appeal number 2343, Rachel Travis, at 31, did I say that right? Oh, sorry. Rochelle.
They're giving you grief, Steve.
Sorry.
No worries. Whatever you pronounce that. Area variance request to be allowed to build a proposed house with an attached garage which does not meet the roadside 50-foot frontage front yard setback. The lakeside is 50-foot front yard setback and the minimum of 20 side yard setback, encroaching 32 feet into the roadside, front yard 16 feet into the lakeside, and 8 feet into the minimum 20-foot side yard. This leaves 18 feet to the roadside property, 34 to the lakeside, and 12 feet to the side property line. That's a lot, so Brett has the narration of where we're at and where the home is looking to be placed.
So this is Allen Road out on Cumberland Head. Make the corner here, we get over onto Bay Road. Property in question is right here. Oops. This is all located within the R4 district. Property we're looking at is this one here. The lines are a little skewed, but it is this smaller house. Again, there's an aerial view from the overview here. This is today. The house had been demoed. There's been a permit applied for, and the house is now no longer there. This is the existing home where it was located on the lot. This is the new proposed home with the attached garage on the lot with their setbacks that have already been discussed. And then we have an overlay of where the existing home was in yellow, and the new home and new proposed garage in orange are overlaid on that. This is an aerial view provided to us by the applicant, showing some of the other homes in the neighborhood along that section of the road. And that's what we have. James, it's all yours.
If you want to go back to that one there, you can see that the setbacks basically leave like a 10-foot strip down the middle because you got a 50-foot in the front and the lake. So basically you can't build anything on this lot without getting a variance. We kept it basically the same size. We're actually getting further from the north setback, and this setback's obviously fine. So a little bit bigger on this side, but that, I guess it doesn't conform from the lake, but it's going to match where it was. The bigger one would be the garage in the front, but we kept it basically minimal size for a 2-car garage. There's a septic system that I designed 3-4 years ago, so I had good record of that. It's all a raised mound out on Cumberland Head, typical. So that takes up this whole area. You can't get a driveway or anything over here. You can't drive over it, so that moving the house this way wouldn't really solve a lot. You'd be probably closer to the lake. So the only thing you could do, I guess, would be to encroach on the lake to get more road frontage, or vice versa. But you also need, some room to park in front of the garage. Basically the same size. Existing house is 835, proposed 984, so slightly bigger, but it's mostly this area that's almost dead center of the property. Across the road is a vacant agricultural field, so not going to block anyone's view of the lake. If you go back to one of the aerial,
Oh boy, James. You love that.
Well, that's not just me.
yeah, that's a good one. You can see, I mean, some of these are right tight to the property line. They're all basically every house out there because most lots are about the same size. They're all.
I guess this is a question for Steve or Ellen, because there's several large buildings out there that we've probably granted variances for in the past.
Yes. The one question is James, was there a floodplain? Did you do a floodplain certificate for the above the 102?
We'll check. Mark Maccabee did the survey for that. He usually picks up that stuff, so I can check with him and see.
Yeah, one thing we wouldn't want to do is that you have a floodplain. Anything that can't be built below the floodplain. Well, I'm drawing a blank. Is it 102?
Yeah.
Am I saying that?
Yeah.
Wrong?
I would guess that this is above that. I mean, it's pretty. The road is fairly flat. All those, if this is in the floodplain, then all these other houses are. That
You can absolutely talk.
Does that mean a high water mark?
It's from your high water mark. So remember Eileen, the flood we had. So there were several homes on here that got flagged that were built below the floodplain. If you go all the way down, kind of at the ones that had water kind of lapping inside of their house. So now DEC requires, and I'm thinking I'm saying this wrong. I think it's 102.3 that the finished floor of your home has to be above.
Okay.
and it will be in this
If
case.
I remember correctly, my brother had to put a new seawall because that's all he had was, if I remember correctly, the old pictures had railroad ties.
Yeah.
But it never got to the camp. It just took 10 feet away from the water frontage. He couldn't put more dirt in to gain that 10 feet back. It's against the law. But
So,
it didn't get to the.
That's
never-
the DEC thing.
Yeah.
So to stop the
never went-
erosion part of it, they want to make sure now DEC requires before we can issue a permit, the finished floor, like no utilities or anything, the finished floor, like if you came up, has to be above 102.3 or your high water and low water mark, which is in the deed. They measure off from that, and then Mark Maccabee was your his surveyor, your survey would have to certify that before we could issue it. But this board wouldn't want to say that you can build in the floodplain.
Right.
That
And
would-
I'll be doing the house plans, once this gets approved, assuming it does, and we can, make sure to raise the crawl space up or whatever kind of foundation or build on piers if we have to.
All right, open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Anybody here like to speak to this matter? And we do have a couple of letters, I believe, to get read into the record.
I'll read the first one. To the code enforcement officials, my objection to the lakeside encroachment of 31 Bay Road is that it will interfere with my line of sight looking to the south. My objection to the side property line encroachment is regarding safety. If a fire occurred at 31 Bay Road, it could easily jump to nearby porches. There was e-signed by Melinda Borshoff for Wild Goose Lane.
This one's a little longer. Appeal number 2343, objection to the proposed building setback encroachment at 31 Bay Road. We are the owners of the adjacent property at 29, which abuts the north side of the property at 31 Bay. This is to register our objection to the requested setbacks encroachments associated with the subject appeal. Objection number 1, lakeside setbacks. The proposed location of the new home is not centrally positioned on the lot, as it could easily be. It's located almost completely on the north side of the property, and it projects further towards the lake than the previous camp, which has recently been demolished. This north side bias has the effecting of maximizing the proposed home's intrusiveness on our peace, use, and enjoyment of our own home, which would be far less if proposed new home would be more centrally located. Given the proximity of the proposed home to the existing house, a lakeside setback of the new home and any appendages should be positioned to leave not less than 35 feet to the lakeside property line and only encroach 15 into the lakeside front yard setbacks. In other words, the proposed new home should not be any closer to the lake than the previous structure. This would maintain privacy, minimize noise, not interfere with our south side view of the lake. Objection number 2. north side yard setback. The proposed adjoining 24 by 24 garage is imposing structure entirely located on the north side of the property. It is disproportionate with the size of the lot, size of the property, new home 34 by 36, and inconsistent with the rural residential non-commercial nature of the neighborhood. And such a hulking structure would be considered by the board permissible, then the proposed garage should not encroach any more than 5 feet into the minimum side yard setback, therefore leaving 15 feet to the north side of the property line. This will be the same distance to the property line that currently exists from one corner of our house. In this way, the intrusiveness and view blocking effect of the proposed garage of our roadside property will be partially mitigated. Objection number 3. Other structures or appendages. Given the disproportionate north side positioning and encroachments of the proposed new structures, any building permit should provide that no sheds or other structures or appendages be permitted on the north side of the property abutting our property at 29 Bay Road. Any such structures are unsightly and are a fire hazard. In conclusion, we consider that our 3 objections proposed mitigate are reasonable and can be readily addressed. Susan, I think I've got your name wrong bad. Susan Marilyn
Sinclair and William Brent
Marilyn
Hogan.
Sinclair, William Brent Hoden, 29 Bay Road. There's a Y in there, Henry. Mary Lynn. Marilyn?
There's an I. It's Mary Lynn.
Okay. Not Marilyn.
In any event, she doesn't like the plan.
Yes, those were the only 2.
Yeah, some are, if I interpreted those, if you want to go back to one of the site plans.
I mean, everything he said was pretty much wrong.
Yeah, I say we're keeping the same distance from the lake. If we put the house centrally, it's gonna be closer to the lake, which would probably block her view.
Yeah, and I don't even know.
You know, actually, if anything, her view's gonna get a little bit better because we're coming 4 feet this way, so now she can see a little bit. And I guess I'm not sure how the garage is.
Well, no, I know that part, but the other person that said it's gonna block the view is actually on the other road across.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's not even that same person, but that's okay. My question is it possible to go down to a stall and a half garage, which would put you back at the 18 feet of side yard as the original house was?
Oh, can you go to the proposed, Brett? C2, I think, the one before.
Which one are you looking for, Jay?
Well, right there, yeah.
If the garage went down to a stall and a half or 18 feet, you would go down to 18 feet, which was the original.
Gain the 6 feet back. So yeah, pull this garage back in.
Yeah.
I guess it would be wouldn't be a 2-car garage. I guess it kind of depends.
James, couldn't you just move this whole square to be right here?
Depending how you're.
It depends on your.
You're thinking a door to come in the house, and I guess if you did with the
here, the door could go
you
anywhere.
could. Yeah, you'd have to redo your water line, I guess, because your water line cuts through from there. But
How hard is it to move the water
I guess
line?
it's not overly. So I guess it would be.
Can I say something off the record?
No, you're on the record.
No.
You can say whatever you want on the record.
So I guess if you want to keep a 2-car garage, I guess if we slide it over to match the house, is that?
That would eliminate.
Well, I'm just saying it'd be the existing distance that you have originally at 18 feet.
Well, what?
Right.
We have 4 objections, right? 3 on the one letter and 1 on the other.
Those are concerns from neighbors, so it's
Yeah.
not necessarily like the board is telling you those are their. The board has not said that these are their objections. That these are just what you just heard was an objection from a neighbor saying, "Hey, we're against this project for these reasons." What the board does with that reasoning is kind of up to them. I think they have some reasons why maybe some of these concerns are not. I don't think the person that wrote this letter really understood fully what the plan was because
No.
clearly you're not going closer to the lake. You're not cutting down their lake view. So
No.
I think the board can interpret this letter a little bit and maybe have a discussion with you about what the board might be concerned about because that's the most important thing.
Okay.
I guess one thing, shifting the garage, it would help with the side yard. I guess the look of the house, if you're.
I mean, That's what I don't know what your interior floor plan is.
Right. I'm just thinking, you know,
And
if you're,
everything else.
I'm not sure if the board is concerned about how things appear, you know, if you drive by and see this garage, you know, rectangle instead of the kind of the definition of the house, you know, you'd see the garage door here, but then a little porch or something here, and then instead of a box and a box.
We are supposed to go for the minimal
Right.
variance, and that's what I was looking at.
Okay. So if we, so it sounds like you want us to go back to the 18 feet, and then I guess if we pull it this way, we still have I guess the 24 feet is still going to be front yard setback encroaching.
Right.
But
I mean, it's up to you guys to say that if you can do it or not, if you go down to a 20-foot wide garage or something like that. That's all. And with that, I can close the public hearing portion of the meeting before I forget to do that, as usual.
Keep in mind, if you slide the garage down in order to keep a 24-foot garage, right? Then your front yard setback will also get smaller.
right, yeah, 18 would become
So
16.
there is a little bit of trade-off. I mean, the only way it works is that you cut off the end of the garage over
Right.
there and make it a smaller garage and keep the same front yard setback. So
Right.
that's up to you guys as the designer of the house to explain to them why it would or wouldn't work. The question I have is, you're showing the outline of the house, and whether they're gonna grant, you know, if they grant variances tonight for that, what's on the back side of the house? Plan on any decks or patios or steps to get out of the house to go towards the lake? Because none of that's shown on here, so.
I wanted in this little corner here that there's gonna be a bathroom, and then it would come out here, and I'd have like a small gazebo.
That's fine.
Yeah, he's talking about over here.
Here,
But
On the lakeside.
to tell you, just, I want just a door, and this is yard, and if I put a porch, it wouldn't be a big porch, I don't even plan on putting a porch.
Good, because you're not allowed to.
Oh, I'm not allowed to?
No.
Oh, well, okay.
we'd have to show it and ask, you know, for a big.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
didn't. Here, I was thinking of a gazebo because I wanted a hot tub. I have waited 30 years for a hot tub, and I'm looking forward to my hot tub. But, you know, if they say no, well then, to hell with the hot tub. I need a house. So,
So off the front, what Alan was saying, you can always go with a patio, pavers, or concrete, because
Yes.
people, you want to take advantage of the lake and looking out there. So right now, the house is getting a variance for where it's in there. So if you said, now I want to sit out here, if it's a structure, it's another variance. But
oh,
if
no,
it's
no,
on
no,
the
I don't
ground,
want,
if
I
you
don't
just
want
did a
any
paver,
more building towards the lake.
yeah, but you can do patterns.
As long as what you do is on the ground, like not a raised deck, patio pavers on the
Yeah.
soil, you can go out the way. So if you wanna put your hot tub on the lakeside, go for it.
No.
I'm just saying, sitting in the hot tub looking at the lake, there are worse things to do.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, so if the house is 34 feet, she could come out with a 8-foot paver.
Right, pavers be okay, but
Yeah.
a raised deck and those.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
it's,
What about steps coming down?
I don't want any, you mean steps going down to the lake?
No, if you come out your back door towards the lake, then you have 3 or 4 steps to get down to a paver patio.
No, if I,
Goes
I'm
to a
thinking
slide,
10
yes.
years, I'm 70. So I'm thinking I don't want any stairs. So I'm
Do a slide.
banking on, there's no, flooding thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can keep,
I'm
you know,
gonna-
the top
we're on
slab,
the
you
ground.
know, 6 inches above grade, just open
Okay,
the door.
so you're
just
right on the patio,
step out.
perfect, okay.
Just keep in mind with your high water mark or
Yes.
floodplain, that could
Right.
lead into.
That could
Yeah.
occupancy.
Yeah. And if we,
Whatever.
if we had to, we could put like a little indent with some stairs kind of inside the.
There you go.
We had to keep it.
That works too.
Or we could put them over here, I guess, you know, come out. Cause there's your setbacks, you know, we could put something right off the edge here and be within the setback.
It's
So-
small, it's very, very small. I mean, 900 square feet, it's not big. I mean, I'm going from a 38 by 70, 3-story house to, we gotta move. My husband's very, very ill, and we gotta sell. I can't, we gotta go small.
So we're gonna keep the garage as is, then?
If it's possible, if,
I just asked the question, that's all. If you
Um,
wanna say that it's gonna, can't move that way because it's gonna, interrupt your flow of traffic to the inside of the house, and also you need the 2-car garage for storage and whatnot, then
Yeah,
you can say that.
yeah, I would like to keep, kind of keep it as is, that way she can get, a little entryway here for the house, and 24 by 24 is sort of the
It's a standard, yeah.
standard size.
And board members have any questions?
I could take my truck away from my husband and cut it in half. Then he'd divorce me.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
I have concerns about the garage.
Yeah.
It's just for the size of the lot, that's a big structure to put on the front of the house.
Go to the neighborhood one.
Mary Ann, no? You haven't, with the size, you don't,
Mr. Black, you might wanna take, that's the neighborhood.
You can actually go
So what you're
back a
talking
little
about is
bit. You could take it back from the roadside. I'm thinking the width. The width is just 2-car garage is about 24 feet.
right.
I mean, you could go 20 feet or cut it back a little bit.
I'd
Look
say
at
there's
the
one just
neighborhood. Look at the third house down.
just down the road here.
Third and
This
fourth house.
that's the 18-foot mark setback, which is what we'd be at. There's that. You got
No, it's got the same thing, they got the same
that.
thing. That whole road is,
39 Bay is.
they got a lot of good sized houses on that road.
That road and the Culligan Point Road, they're both exactly the same. They basically treat their roadside road as a rear yard, and all the garages are the first thing in the front.
Yeah, all three are there.
All right, if we look at the balancing test, we can say whether the benefit can be achieved by other means feasible to the applicant, and a lot of what they have done is stayed within the basic footprint of what the existing structure was. Whether an undesirable change in neighborhood character or to nearby properties, it's the whole area, as we just stated, was that type of situation. Whether the request is substantial, and again, that whole road is basically that same way with 18 feet of distance in the front. You're keeping it the same distance from the lakeside as was the original structure, so. Whether the request will have adverse physical or environmental, I don't see any of that, so
Each variance request should get its own vote, okay?
that's what my next question is gonna be.
I'm one step ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm just one step behind, whichever way you wanna look at it. So we would have a variance for, and he's got his nice little chart on this one thing here. Because it is pre-existing non-conforming as far as the lot size and everything else. And the minimum frontage doesn't meet, but that's a pre-existing again. What about the maximum building area? Is that gonna count there, Steve?
So, do we have that breakdown from the,
Yeah, he's got it on the chart. Yeah. It's on C2.
oh, 14%?
Yeah.
That's another variance.
What's that green space?
Yeah, maximum buildable area, so you can only have 30% of the entire lot, and you got 14. Good call, good catch. You're one step ahead of the attorney.
I think now we're even.
Okay.
Well,
the-
on your
the
chart,
actual
you have
maximum
provided
building area
14.
is 30%, and you're only providing 14%.
Yeah, the max is 30%.
No.
He's only building.
We could build twice the structure.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right. We're only building 14%.
Oh,
Yeah, you're reading it the wrong way, reading it backwards.
Okay.
16%.
So for the record, I was not wrong.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, so the front yard setback, which would be retired 50 feet and then it's 18. So that would be the first variance. And as just looked at by all the other structures on that road and the existing, That's pretty much a standard for that area. So that would need a motion for approval or denial on that one.
A motion to approve it.
Okay, second,
I'll second.
and a show of hands on that, and a roll call vote,
Henry Hill,
yes.
Roger Black,
No,
Marianne
Yes.
Alexandra, Melanie Marr.
Yes.
Okay. And minimum side yard setback is, the one side is gonna be 12 feet where he actually needs 8 or 20 feet. So it's an 8-foot variance.
Is that what we need?
Anybody have a problem with that?
I have a problem with the whole garage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he's got,
And it was 18.
it was 18, yes.
Oh, because the garage.
Garage is kicked over there.
It's a big difference.
Just to point out, point of clarification, detached garage from the house can be 10 feet away from.
I was just gonna ask you, yeah, so if we detach a garage, we can go 10 feet from the property line.
He's at
We can
12
push
feet right
that
now.
2 feet closer if we have to, if we detach it from the house. But
And there was no ordinance.
But it have to have, well, it have to be fireproofed or 6 foot of separation or whatever, right?
yeah,
Fire, within 10 feet of the house, be fireproof, yeah.
yeah, so it'd be, so yeah, I
They're gonna
think
do that anyway if it's attached.
Yeah.
so she'll keep it 2 feet further from the property line if she can, attach it, which I think everybody prefers an attached garage in this area.
So, but if you detached it, then it would actually be closer to the side yard.
Yeah, we could push it to the north to 10 feet instead of 12 feet.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's actually a positive having it there. All right, so
All right, I will go. I'll motion to it.
okay, Mel says
I'll
yes,
second.
and show of hands, and roll call vote,
Henry Hill,
yes.
Roger Black,
No,
Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Melanie Marr.
Yes.
And the minimum rear yard setback,
Lakeside front yard,
front yard or rear yard, because it's lakeside, right? So they're providing needed 50, but I also heard that you've lost about 10 feet of your lakeside because of the flood. Okay, so they're providing 34, which would be, or 36, excuse me, which would be 14 feet.
It's not changing from what the original house was though. right?
No, it isn't, no.
I'm motion to approve it.
Okay, a
Yeah, I'll
second.
second.
Show of hands, and a roll call vote on that,
Henry Hill,
yes.
Roger Black,
yes,
Melanie Marr. Oops, I went out of order. Marianne Alexandra,
Yes.
Melanie Marr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Good,
you.
thank you.
Now it's up to
Now
you.
you're good to go, man.
You're on my right, it's up to you.
Enjoy the hot tub.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Motion to approve adjournment.
All right.
Thank you. 6:36.
1 minute. Thank you for trudging out in the snow. It's much appreciated that you guys can make it.
Make a motion to
Chairman, thank you.
I already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, now I got a second, thank you.
Okay.
Get ready for the big winter storm.
Yeah.
4 inches and now a storm.
It's 4 to 8, I heard. 8 inches